Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's your boy Aaron B. So we're doing a Wednesday show because we got the Cowboys versus the Seahawks on a Thursday, and we have a special guest, and that is USA Today sports contributor and writer for the Seahawks Wire, Cole Musgrove. How's it going, Cole? Can you hear me, Cole? Oh, hope we didn't lose Cole. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, then we may have a little technical difficulties in trying to. If you can hear me, Cole, you can just come back in and see if that works. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Oh, you can't hear me. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's see. I got my mute. Oh. I don't know if you hear me. Having a little technical difficulty. Oh, you can't hear me? Must be something going on with the audio. Ooh, let me see. That's the first. Let me get this. My apologies, everybody. That's on me if y'all can't hear me. Ooh. Okay. What about now? Yeah, you can just come back and refresh, and we can you can come back. Let me see. Okay. So our guests will be back, but we'll go into discussion on Shaq Leonard. So Shaq Leonard came in for a visit with the Cowboys yesterday, and as well made a visit to the Philadelphia Eagles today. So when it comes to Shaq Leonard, he has two connections. The first one with the Eagles. His connection with the Eagles is Nick Sirianni. He used to be the offensive coordinator for the Colts back in 2018 and 2020. Back when it comes to the Cowboys, he was teammates with Malik Hooker and cornerback Stephon Gilmore. So he has both those connections on those ends. So that could be a big plus when it comes to kind of, that's why maybe he wants to be. These are the two teams he wants to be on. I know both teams reach out to him, and it's kind of interesting that both these teams are interested in both in the NFC East, and they're trying to get the best talent they can have each throughout the whole season. So I think that's one of the main things when it comes to that. And one of the things he hasn't signed with any team yet or anything like that. But one of the things are they looking at? Are they looking at the length of the contract? Are they looking at, like, does he want a short contract or does he want a let me see. Okay, now we're good. So when it comes to the contract, does he looking for a length of a contract or is he looking for like a short term? And that's one of the main things. And then the other thing I think it is it the injury, because he had the back injury a couple of years ago. Do y'all think it could be the injury that's what's kind of having teams concerned, or do y'all think is the injury kind of moved on from that? But I got our guests back. We're both kind of having technical difficulties on both ends, but I hope everything's good. Cole, how's it going?
Good. Hey, thank you for putting up with me, man. I'm not sure what's going on my end, but I think we've got it figured out right now.
Fingers crossed, absolutely. But I hope you got to hear my introduction of you. If you're not, I could do it because I definitely got to show respect to my guests on here for sure.
I'm sorry I didn't hear that.
Okay,
but it's all good.
Okay, I was about to say I could play a rewind real quick and
no, it's all good. I'll catch the highlights later, man. I appreciate that though. Thank you. I trust you.
Absolutely appreciate you. Yeah, but we were just talking about Shaq Leonard. I know you probably know a bit about him and everything. What do you think about Shaq Leonard when it comes to do you think is a concern about the back injury, why neither one of the Cowboys or the Eagles signed him or not?
I mean, back injuries are tricky, man. I still think that I always thought that this guy still had a little bit something left to give. But if two teams that have clear Super Bowl aspirations aren't willing to just even kick the tires, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things is how serious that back injury was. And I kind of did my research on one of these podcasts had a physician, a family sports medicine physician, Dr. Jesse Morris, and he was talking about when it comes to back injuries, they're not usually when it comes to it, it's like they may like that explosion they used to have when they were getting off that first get off, because maybe they have a muscle imbalance, and then all kind of depends on what type of surgery they had. Like, did they get something removed, like part of the lower back, or did they get something like injected or anything like a cadaver type of body parts or something? And it just when it comes to injuries, and then it's a lot of mental wise. Like, are they worrying about, oh, if I do this move, will I hurt my back or this way, or is it like am I limited to the ability I was a couple of years ago? Yeah, I think that's definitely a concern. Is how serious is the back injury, and if it's, you kind of hope at least can he play up to like at least 75% of the love who he did a couple of years ago, because if he can, I think he still could be a valuable player to a team. It's just like how serious is that back injury, because he getting later into that season, and he's played a few games, he played 9 games, but can he still play it to the next few games?
Mm-hmm. Well, especially down this tough stretch, as we head into the playoffs, NFC East is still very much within grasp for you guys.
Absolutely, but since we discussed that, we got to get into why I had you on the show, and that's we got to talk about the Cowboys and the Seahawks game. So we're going to get into the state of the Seahawks, but since we're tacos and touchdowns, we got to ask, what is your favorite taco place you ever been to, and what is your favorite taco you go with?
Oh man, my favorite taco place. Man, you know what? I used to live in Austin actually for about a year and a half,
Really?
and I know I'm sure it's probably a basic answer, but I love Torchy's.
I had Torchy's a couple times. What do you get there?
From what I remember, I mean, it's been a few years since I've lived there, but I just always kind of got just basic beef taco. Not too terribly exciting, but I had fun with it. It was tasty.
Oh no, the picadillo is one of my favorite tacos to get. That's what I actually made today. It kind of made used the air fryer, did like this with some white cheese with some and then with a little, it was like a nice little creamy sauce to it as well. So I kind of made me a little taco wrap, and that's what I had for dinner today. Just putting there. Appreciate you.
Perfect. Well, it's almost dinner time here in the Pacific Northwest, so I think you may have given me some inspiration for tonight.
I appreciate that. I know you're on the West Coast, so you're about almost an hour away from getting to that dinner time. So I won't take too much of your time. But question. Okay, so we want to ask you this. So if you had to make a Mount Rushmore of Seahawks greats, who would be on there?
Oh man, Mount Rushmore Seahawks great. I'm going to go with our 4 Hall of Famers, like 4 bona fide Hall of Famers. It's weird with the NFL. Like if a guy plays on a team, that team is credited with them being the Hall of Fame. Like Jerry Rice is still technically a Seahawk Hall of Famer because he played 1 year. But I had to go with our Mount Rushmore. I'd have to go with Steve Largent, of course, first player to 100 receiving touchdowns. When he retired, he had the NFL records for most receptions, receiving touchdown, and receiving yards. Like at the time, best receiver to ever play. Then after that, I'm going to go with arguably the best left tackle to ever play, Walter Jones. As a former offensive lineman myself, I love having a Walter Jones jersey in my closet. After that, I will go with Cortez Kennedy, the late, great Cortez Kennedy. May he rest in peace. Defensive Player of the Year's rookie season, I believe. And then to round it out, Kenny Easley. Those are our 4 jerseys that we've got retired. They're the 4 guys in Canton for us. So that's my Seahawks Mount Rushmore.
That's a really good Mount Rushmore for sure. And being an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, yeah, you got to show love to Walter Jones. He's one of the greats.
I know he only gave up like just a handful of sacks his entire career.
Yeah,
the dude was just a stone wall.
And you kind of look at when back in those early 2000s, you're like, that's one of the best left tackles in the game. And some people don't remember him, but he was a really good left tackle.
I mean, there's a reason Sean Alexander was able to be MVP, and he was running behind holes that dude created.
Oh yeah, and then y'all had Steve Hutchinson and some other guys on there too.
Oh yeah, that was a special. That 2005 team was pretty special.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about, oh yeah, it was that 2005. I didn't want to kind of bring that one up, but
we ending not so great, stolen, but that's what we all still believe here.
it's all good. But hey, y'all got one back in was it 2013?
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. And then I don't know what happened the next year. It was weird. It's weird. Super Bowls went 47, 48, 50, 51, 52. I guess I just didn't play 49. I have no memory of it.
Yeah, we won't go into no details with that one.
No idea what happened there.
Yeah, we'll say that year they didn't have a Super Bowl. We're gonna leave it at that. It's
the most polite way of putting it.
Yeah, absolutely. But my next question is, I want to get your thoughts on rookie cornerback DeVon Witherspoon's season and his impact in the secondary so far.
This kid is special. I mean, he's proving week in, week out that this guy was very, very deserving of the number 5 overall pick. Conventional wisdom at the time was, of course, the Seahawks had a whole defensive line, especially the interior. Go with Jalen Carter. That's what all the mock drafts, that's what everyone believed. And then, of course, in typical Seattle Seahawks fashion, they zigged while everyone thought they were going to zag, and they picked Devin Witherspoon. Now, that should have been an indicator to everybody that if Pete Carroll, of all people, fell in love with a cornerback, should probably trust Pete's judgment on that position. And I know several friends of mine who were openly critical of the move at the time. They have all come around. Everybody who had any kind of skepticism, this is a foundational piece in the secondary. He's an incredible player, and it's going to be just such a joy to watch his career grow. He's everywhere in the field. He certainly saved the touchdown last Thursday against the 49ers. He just came out of nowhere, got his hand in, and I mean, eventually the 49ers scored, but he single-handedly did all he could to prevent that from happening.
And it's crazy to think that how much depth y'all have in the cornerback room, because last year y'all got UTSA's corner Tariq Woolen, and then you have Michael Jackson, and there's a couple other guys on there that are just overall y'all have good depth when it comes to the corners.
But it's funny, we have in our secondary we have a guy named Kobe Bryant and we have a Michael Jackson. So
I forgot about Kobe. That's another good one too.
He's great, and then Quandre Diggs, he's always great no matter what, year in year out. Jamal Adams, when he's healthy, he can certainly still be an impactful player. And Julian Love, quietly from the Giants, just a good quality starting caliber safety.
Yeah, like when I can't believe people were kind of questioning when y'all drafted a corner. Like y'all do got that good history of finding good DBs, even in the late rounds. If anybody remembers the LOB, there Legion of Boom, there were some guys like you had the Earl Thomas, the Cam Chancellors, and then Richard Sherman, and the Brandon Browner, and some other guys as well. It's like got the history of them secondary.
Well, with those guys, I mean, with the exception of Earl, those guys were all 5th, 6th round picks, and Earl wasn't a top 5 pick. So like I said, if Pete Carroll had his eyes on a corner worthy of number 5, we should have seen it right then and there. He was going to be an okay player, to say the least.
Yeah, all I have to say is to look at the film in at Illinois, he was a really good corner there. So,
well, if the number 1 highlight for a corner is a bone-breaking tackle, then that's a unique cat right there.
I was about to say that says Seattle Seahawk type of player right there. Yeah. So, my next question is: during the trade deadline, you acquired Leonard Williams from the Giants. How much of an impact has he brought to the team in the 4 games he's been there?
Well, it's been kind of hard to judge. Big picture, Seattle, since the trade deadline, we've lost, 3 out of 4, and 2 really ugly blowouts. And it certainly hasn't helped that we've had to face the 2 best rushing teams in football, the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens, who that's all they do. Individually, he's been fine. He has been just destroying interior offensive line. He has made an impact. Unfortunately, the issues the Seahawks have had, especially on defense, has been greater than just one player. They're on the field way too often. The offense is not doing any favors, and they're just getting worn down. And, like I said, individual performance-wise, he's doing great. We love him. He had a huge sack against the Commanders, I believe, in our win over them. But overall, it's, the issues go far beyond. He's doing great, but there's other problems at play.
I definitely agree because I was watching that Seattle game in the Niners. I like, yeah, y'all defense was on their way too long, and the offense was just on there for like a little short moment, and then you got to keep going against the 49ers last week, and it was like,
it's hard to stay fresh when your offense is only on the field for 7 minutes in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, that's so. My next question is, what is your thoughts on Geno Smith's second season as a starting QB? But do you believe they're going to be looking at a QB in this coming draft? Because you got guys like Michael Penix Jr. and you guys got like a Jaden Daniels. Do you think they're kind of going to look into the draft for a quarterback, or are they going to stick with Geno?
So let me start off by saying obviously when offenses are sputtering in the NFL and struggling, the fingers always point to the quarterback, no matter what. Certainly as a Cowboys fan, I'm sure you can appreciate anything goes wrong. There's only the blame only goes to one player, and it's number 4.
Yeah.
Which I think is for the most part has been incredibly unfair for Dak. But that being said, I don't think Geno Smith has been the issue. Now he has, there's certain plays like he's not getting rid of the ball fast enough. But overall, I don't think he is the biggest issue on this team, and quite frankly, I think he's being hard done by. Of course, that being said, I do think they're going to look at trying to get a quarterback. Geno's a great guy. He's a great story. Really easy to root for as a fan. But I think this year has kind of proven that he's not necessarily the guy. And even if he was playing really well, I mean, he's 33. I mean, he's got fresh legs by NFL perspective because he's been, the backup for all these years. But, that's not going to be your franchise guy for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Eventually, they were going to have to go with another quarterback. And I think all the top guys are just out of reach for this year or this past draft. Like C.J. Stroud went too high. Same with Bryce Young. If they have an opportunity, I think they will in this upcoming draft.
I could see Geno as like a good, being kind of more of that mentor with whoever y'all draft, and maybe y'all could slowly put into whatever quarterback you draft, slowly acclimate him into the season, unless y'all see improvement where you have like, okay, we don't have to have Geno start now, we could involve our rookie quarterback, because y'all can be in that type of situation instead of like how some teams will just throw out a QB onto the water and hopefully everything happens, but y'all do have a good quarterback just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, when a quarterback's struggling, there's obviously naturally the fans who want to see the backup. Well, against the Rams, we got a little taste of Drew Lock, and no, he is not. He's not the answer. Geno is the only option at quarterback for this season. Right or wrong, good or bad, he's the guy, and it is for the remainder, however long the season lasts.
I definitely agree with that. My next one is your trio of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and the Jigba who y'all got in the draft. What is your thoughts of overall how they played this season?
I think they're doing tremendous. However, they're being underutilized. Jackson Smith and Jigba is, slowly but surely getting more incorporated into the offense. But overall, there's a serious lack of creativity in the play calling to get all three utilized at once.
Yeah, because when I see it, and you look at the numbers, they're not like wild numbers, but when you see them on the film, like, okay, if they utilize these guys a little better, now you would get better numbers out of it. Just kind of like it's lacking. And do you think it's overall just the offense they're running, and is that one of the main reasons why y'all think y'all struggling on the offensive side of the ball?
I think so. We have it on paper. There's a lot of weapons the Seahawks have. Like you said, there are 3 receivers. I think they've got a stable of very capable tight ends and running back. Kenneth Walker's injured, but Zach Charbonnet's good. DJ Dallas is a fine backup. Kenny McIntosh should get some play time this week. But it almost feels like there's too much, and they don't really know what to do. For lack of a better term, of how to incorporate all of them at once. And we've kind of seen the struggles that the Seahawks don't really have an offensive identity right now. they don't really pass the ball particularly well right now, but then they also don't really commit to a hard-nosed power run team.
And so it's like they're trying to figure out what the identity is, but it's week 12, and it's kind of a little too late to be like, okay, this is our identity. We're just kind of going to freestyle it.
Yeah, when we play tomorrow, it'll be the last day of November, and we're still trying to answer the offensive identity question.
Yeah, our team is kind of doing that similar way. Is we're slowly figuring out what our identity is. We're getting involved with CD Lamb, and then getting Brandon Cooks, and then Jake Ferguson, and we're kind of still trying to figure out with Michael Gallup. There are some games where he's shown some spurts. We're still trying to figure out what are we going to do with our running backs. That's kind of our thing. So we're kind of in that similar situation. We're trying to figure out what we're going to our offense, but our defense is kind of pretty much set. But my next question is, before we get into like key matchups, is what's your confidence level on Abe Lucas playing tomorrow? Because I know he's a full participant in practice today, and how much of an impact you think he would be as a right tackle?
Well, Abe Lucas is not carrying any injury designation this week, so it looks like he is going to be full go. It seems like he's kind of had some opportunities the last two games, but just being with the short week and then the Rams, they kind of were holding out. But clearly, the offensive line needs a little bit of a boost, especially going up against Micah Parsons, 11.5 sacks this year for you guys. I feel confident he showed that last year he can be an incredibly high quality right tackle, and I certainly think that he, will make positive impact.
I definitely like to see what that matchup between him and Micah Parsons, and then kind of segue into key matchups. I know you're got a little short on time, but what is like one of your key matchups you want to see in this game?
Well, the key matchup, of course, is, like I said, the offensive line. Can they keep Geno Smith upright? Can he has enough time to throw, get the ball going? Because otherwise, it's just going to be another long, miserable day watching Seahawks football, offense just sputtering. Key matchup, of course, the ongoing struggle, Seahawks offense versus third downs. They just cannot seem to convert them. The other one being, can the Seahawks defense force Dak Prescott into making more turnovers? I mean, last year he was giving away the football like it was going out of business. And this year he's cleaned it up. And I think that could be, if the Seahawks can find a way to do that, like you said, with Witherspoon, with Woolen, I think they have a chance.
And lastly, before I let you go, is what's y'all's two keys to victory? One on offense and one on defense. What does that mean? Key to?
Well, offense. I mean, the defense I think can handle their own pretty well. The key for the offense is they got to sustain drives and they got to finish drives in the end zone. I know that's so simple, but when you're constantly punting on third down, when you're settling for field goals, it keeps your opponents in games longer. I mean, we were dominating the Commanders, but we just kept settling for field goals, and then what do you know? It's a tie game late. If you have any chance of upsetting on the road, they have to just find a way to get into the end zone, put the pressure, and keep the pressure on Dak Prescott and the offense.
I think it's going to be a good game tomorrow, and kind of get to see the testament of what our teams are about. But I think it'll be a fun when it comes to see both of our defense going at it against our offenses. But I think it's going to be a closer game than what people think. But before I let you, I appreciate you, Cole, for being on the show. But before I let you go, where can they follow you at, and where they can check out your articles as well?
Well, they can follow me at Cole Musgrove 23 on Twitter. That's my personal Twitter. And then they can also follow at the Seahawks Wire. I usually run that account on game days, doing live tweets. That's where you find my articles. The Seahawks Wire is my publication.
Appreciate you again, Cole. This has been Tacos and Touchdowns. Yeah, have a good one. Peace.
Absolutely. Hey, and you guys will be getting the Seahawks throwbacks tomorrow. So treat for your eyes.
Yeah, those are nice.